As for manner, in the Philippines, this is often blank in the death certificate because we do not have a proper death investigation system. Doctors would not commit, even the police, as to manner, even if the individual was really shot. In our classification, we would call this homicide, and there is no commitment on the word homicide, even on the death certificate.
So, ang ibig po sabihin nito ay parang insufficient yung ginawang pag-iimbestiga in terms of, dun siyempre para kung nag-iimbestiga tayo na may namatay, so aalamin natin yung manner of death at saka yung cause of death. So, ang ginagawa lang usually ng mga police ay simple lang na sabihin na namatay sa gunshot wounds. So, ganun lang. Tapos manner of death, is it homicide, murder, or suicide, whatever. Yun, solo yun lang po yung... So, paano natin po ma-determine kung talagang intentional yung pagpatay or hindi?
Generally speaking, I have been in the practice of forensic pathology for 30 years. And my observation is, that's it. We do not have a proper death investigation system. Killings are not properly and adequately and scientifically investigated. If there is some attempt to investigate, it's very, very superficial. Autopsies are not detailed. There is no correlation among the findings, like you do not put together findings on the body, the scene, the statements, physical evidence, and so on. So this is very, very much lacking in the Philippines. Even the death certificate is very deficient.
Okay. So, makikita natin dito, Mr. Chair, no, yung kung paano nag-iimbestiga, no? Kung paano nag-iimbestiga ang authority natin pagdating sa mga patayan. Parang hindi mo talaga makikita doon ano kung paano, no, kung intentional or whatever. Like for example po, Mr. Chair, yung kay Ariel and Chai, sinasabi lang doon na mode of death ay ano lang, ano, yung homicide. Okay. So ang findings nyo na ito, sumusunod, so sa findings niyo, Dr. Fortune, sumusunod ba sa regular or standard procedure para sa autopsy? So definitely ang sagot nyo ay hindi, no, dun sa ginawa ng PNP. Tingin niyo po ba yung kinandak na mga autopsy dito sa tinutukoy natin ng mga individuals ay sumunod po ito doon sa standard procedure ng autopsy?
Again, generally speaking, investigations in the Philippines, including autopsies, are not up to par with international standards. The cases I get, I try to come up with more or less the procedure similar to what should be expected. But as I said, I have a lot of limitations. I have no access to the body at the scene. By the time the body comes to me, it's already embalmed. Many times, it's already previously, quote-unquote, autopsied or examined. And I have very limited information regarding the scene and other findings. So it's very difficult here in the Philippines.
So, doon po ba sa kinokonduct na autopsy, no? Ang ninyo, makikita po ba dito yung based po sa autopsy, consistent ba yung woods sa narrative na ng laban? Kasi lagi na lang, kahit na po sa drug-related or activist-related, lagi na lang sinasabing nanlaban. So ang laging depensa po ng police ay nanlaban, nakikita po ba ito doon sa autopsy?
In the last hearing, that was asked of me several times, and I have tried to explain that just because someone fought back, this is not an excuse for the police to shoot them dead. And in some cases, I cited that there were marks of restraint, like they were handcuffed. So how could they have fired back or fought back? I have previously pointed out that these individuals were shot in the head, in the chest, in the abdomen where vital organs are, and they were shot multiple times. So this is not really an attempt to merely disable them or make them as a defense mechanism of the police. They were meant to kill. And also, I have encountered several cases of, as I mentioned earlier, defense-type injuries, which are classically in the arms.
Okay. Okay, nakakita na po ba kayo ng PNP autopsy report?
Mr. Chair,
Para sa isang.
with the
Para sa-
indulgence of Congresswoman Franz,
Okay.
being the
Yes,
chairman of the
Congresswoman.
Committee on Human Rights, I really would like to be a part of the questioning on the HE case. So if you could be able to finish the questioning of Colonel Grijaldo, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, with the indulgence of Congresswoman Castro, the information being shared to the committee by Dr. Fortun is very important and vital. However, if we can limit, because these are details already of the autopsy, and based on the initial findings of Dr. Fortun, she already made a statement that this was a summary execution, if I'm not mistaken. Did you say that this was a how do you term that? Is this a summary execution of all the victims?
We actually do not come up with such a statement. The most that we can come up with is, that's it, a classification of manner is homicide.
And what is the classification for in these cases that you have studied? What could be the classification, the appropriate term for the kind of crime that happened?
Well, in forensic work, it's particularly forensic pathology, the most that we can come up with is to classify it as a homicide, which means that he was killed by the action or actions of another individual or other persons. We do not use the word murder because it's a legal term.
Okay.
Now, whether they were what you call summarily executed, this would require, actually the best is you reconstruct the shooting. How were they shot? But as I kept pointing out, I've had a lot of limitations. The most that I was able to do was to examine the remains.
Okay.
And your findings are best correlated with other findings.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that information. So, Congresswoman Castro,
Mr. Chair, parang sinasabi po kaya ni Chairman Abante, parang gusto mo nang matapos yung kay Colonel Grijaldo kasi gusto niya ring mag-participate dito sa...
So I could join.
Yes, opo. So last na lang, Mr. Chair.
Sige,
Parang ganun po kasi gusto niyang mangyari.
if I may suggest that questions that remember, let's not get out of the objective of this committee hearing, which is in aid of legislation, because we cannot go deeper into details of how or medical findings on some of the victims. We have already initially established that there were several extrajudicial killings committed
Yes.
or that happened. So baka ma-delay lang tayo dun, baka ma-lihis lang tayo dun sa issue ng how, why, and what
Yes,
legislations we can produce out of this investigation.
Natatanong natin to Mr. Chair dahil alam natin doon sa mga mga thousands na namatay ay hindi po lahat na imbestigahan. O wala pa. I mean, few lang yung mga naimbestigahan.
Yes.
At gusto natin magkaroon po talaga ng standard procedure kung paano nag-iimbestiga ang police. Kasi kung ganito lang kasimple or hindi masyadong maayos yung manner ng pag-iimbestiga, so may kailangan tayong baguhin doon sa kanilang guidelines on how to investigate. Remember, Mr. Chair, di ba sabi natin, mahalaga yung buhay. Kaya bawat isa yan na namatay, kailangan alam